So, Mitt, you have a problem with Mitt, I assume, huh?
Oh, I have a problem with his reaction. Yeah. After the Florida primary, he was a little exuberant, and he made the gaffe where he said, he didn't he was taken out of context, and the line that they kept repeating was, "I don't really care about the poor." Well, I mean, the fact of the matter is, it was a cheap shot on him. They weren't giving his whole thought.
Right. He said they have a safety net, and if it needs repair, I'll fix it.
Right. And so he has this. But then as the left media attack machine starts beating up on him, his reaction was what really is a concern to us, that instead of standing his ground, making his case, he immediately reverts and says, well, I'm of course I care about the poor. For example, I think we should index the minimum wage so it's constantly rising to equal inflation.
Right.
That's a type of pandering to a mentality that is, frankly, wrong. The biggest problem we have are with youth unemployment, and that we know for a fact that the higher the minimum wage, the fewer entry-level jobs there are, especially for disadvantaged and minority youth. And so by saying we're going to index it, it's sounding good. It may be pandering to the editorial pages of the New York Times, but it's actually doing the one thing he says he's not doing, and that's hurting lower-income people. And so that's our concern, is a knee-jerk reaction that kind of concedes and gives in to the anti-free market forces that kind of would help perpetuate that mentality out there.
So we're looking at Mitt's record, though. When you're from Americans for Limited Government, is he a limited government guy?
Not that we can tell. I mean, his Romney Care in Massachusetts was a great expansion of governmental power into the healthcare field, and we would have to see. I mean, I've not heard from the governor a clear proposal on how you reduce the overall size of government. How do you bring this monstrous debt that we've got under control, and a flat declaration of how he would approach either tax reform or taxes in general. And I think until you do that, then the question is going to be out there.
Well, if not Mitt, it looks like, and Newt, I assume that you're not big on him as being a limited government guy.
Well, his record would speak against that. And Phil, the thing is, I don't want to get into the whose side are you on game. I would like to see all of them come out and take a forceful position to reduce the size of this debt, pare back the government that has intervened itself in so many areas of our lives, and try to find a more reasonable, sustainable balance on taxes, spending, and the level of power of the federal government. And that clearly is an issue that you see popping up pretty much everywhere you look. It defines the debate with Obama. And yet we see many of the candidates for the Republican nomination, they're kind of sidestepping that fundamental debate, and they'd rather talk about what I think are kind of superfluous or side issues.
All right, well, let's talk about Obama and the whole mandate for contraceptives and things like this. Talk about your limited government. Boy, these folks are all over telling everybody what to do as far as what they've got to offer as far as health care is concerned. The Catholics are upset, and understandably so.
Absolutely, and it isn't just Catholics, and it isn't just the issue of contraception or any of the particulars. It is that this administration feels that it is within their right to dictate what you will and will not offer in a health care plan for your employees, and that religious belief is of no consequence. Personal choice is of no consequence. And that you will do what we say. And that's essentially what HHS, that was their position until this got out into the media, and even very liberal leaders inside the Catholic Church put their foot down, and now suddenly you start to see the administration beginning to backpedal. But I don't think they're, so far, all they're saying is, well, maybe we can find a way for you to transition, but last time I checked, that there was no transition on a matter of conscience. And so I think they have really stepped in it, and it's going to become a very interesting conflict, because the religious objection, the right of someone to practice their religion free of government interference, that's what's going to be on the line, a fundamental First Amendment freedom, and this administration is stepping all over it in the name of Obamacare. I don't see how that stands.
Well, yeah, and I don't know whether we're going to have a ruling on this. We're supposed to have a ruling on this, like June or whatever, right?
That would be our hope, but already the Obama administration is suddenly saying, they need more time to prepare, even though the country has been suffering through this now for 3 solid years. They don't have enough. They need more time. It's up in the air as to whether or not the court will give them much more time, but there's clearly an effort on the administration's part to push this past the election.
Let's talk about the extension of the unemployment benefits. I mean, how long do we go? I mean, they're talking 99 weeks, 300 weeks. I mean, how long do we keep paying people not to work?
Well, you know what Reagan said, and it's true. If you want more of something, subsidize it.
That's right.
So if you want more unemployment, subsidize it. I don't know. I'm very hopeful that the Congress screws up its courage and refuses to give that an extension of this 99-week program to Obama. Obama cannot have it both ways. Either this very kind of seasonally adjusted, questionable jobs report for January is proof, like he said, that his policies are working, in which case we don't need that extended unemployment, or that report is not accurate and we still do by his way of thinking. Either way, it's long past overdue that this be pared back to something more reasonable, and I'm hopeful that the Congress will do it.
Yeah, as I've told people, you don't look at the unemployment numbers, you look at the employment numbers, and the percentage of people that are in the workforce has gone down from 65.7% to 63.7% since he took office. So
yeah,
it went down 0.8% in the 7 or 8 years prior to that. It's gone down 2 points in 3 years. So we're heading in the wrong direction. You can take the unemployment numbers and make them say what you want as long as people are off the rolls. To me, the Democrats would be foolish to extend the unemployment benefits, because as soon as they get these people off the rolls, unemployment numbers automatically look good.
They do. And, I heard the greatest explanation of this that really put it in perspective, which is, the January jobs report was as if unemployment was an epidemic in the country, and the great news is there are fewer sick people in America. The bad news is there are a lot more dead people, and that's really where we are. By removing them like this from the workforce, the unemployment number is being manipulated, and that if in fact we treated apples to apples as we have been doing, which is look at the workforce population versus how many are working, our unemployment rate is 11%.
Yeah.
And
they don't want to talk about that, though, do they, Bill?
No, Phil. 11% does not fit into the president's narrative.
No, it does not. All right, you can go to their website. It's Americans for Limited Government, getliberty.org. Bill Wilson is the president of the organization. Bill, always a pleasure to have you. Thank you.
No, thank you, Phil.